Click. And here we go. We're live.
Here we go.
I'm just finishing my admin, mate. So I need to get it on.
That's all right. I'll entertain the crowds, the hordes of people watching. I need a better backdrop, I think.
Oh, right. You gone off CrossFit?
No, there's drawers. This chest of drawers. Oh. But we've literally got nowhere else to put those drawers in our house.
What's in them?
Clothes.
Good clothes?
So this half is my kids. And that half is mine. That's why it's all messy. Oh, shit. I was about to say why it's messy on their side. My side. Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about you.
I love talking about me.
Tell me how the day's been.
My day's been a bit up and down today in terms of...
You had a haircut?
No, yeah, but like... I'm not taking me out of because I don't know what's under there today.
Okay.
But I have it cut quite regularly considering I only have about 4 hairs. In fact, I'm going to have to get it out now. I've said that.
No, you're doing all right.
I'm not doing bad for 40, am I? So yeah, my day's been one of them, mate, where at the moment, you know, because we're ramping up and doing a lot more stuff than we used to on Defiant Print and the Defiant Cape. Still getting used to some of the equipment that we're using. So I'm having them days at the moment where you have one day, everything goes really well and you're like, oh, we've nailed it. And then the next day you do everything the fucking same and nothing works. And you're like, oh, we're retarded. And it's like, I'm constantly in this up and down battle where, just getting used to, it's like any new skills, isn't it? When you start to learn something new, whatever it is, same in the gym, I guess. Like, well, I hear about it because I gave up with double unders, but people would be like, oh yeah, I've got double unders, and then they come in next week and not be able to do them and stuff. And it's like, it's just the reps, and that's what I'm getting used to at the moment. But because with the Open coming up, we've got quite a lot of business, you know, through Defiant Print and through the Defiant Co, that any days that aren't as productive as you want them to be, it's a day less because we want to get everyone's order out to them before they open. So it's just a bit of a pressure situation. So, but yeah.
Are you doing a cut off for the Open altogether, or because it's 3 weeks, are you carrying on until?
No, we're carrying on, but we said to a lot of the gyms like are doing big batches of promo teas to help like generate interest in signing up for the Open. Like Steve at Tweedbank, he's bought all, I think like about 70 odd teas. He's placed the biggest order in terms of, when I say biggest order, in terms of what a gym's self-funding for the members. And it's just amazing stuff like that. So it's like, we want to get them all kitted out because I guess the first workout as well is always the one where you get the biggest turnout in terms of members for Friday Night Lights, isn't it? Because everyone's excited. No one's been filled in. It's generally tends to be relatively less in terms of skill and weight, doesn't it? So the participation is always a bit higher. So yeah, we want to make sure we get them all to them. And plus, not just that, I said I would. And that's the main thing. If I say I'm going to do something, it doesn't matter how long you have to work, you have to do it, don't you? So we'll get it done.
You know that principle of if I've said it, I'll do it?
Yeah.
Do you genuinely, apply that to your own head? Like, yeah.
Mate, to the point, I have this thing, and I developed it when I first went on my path of trying to become more disciplined. I did 75 hard. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did that because I always thought, like, I don't know, I always dropped off after a month when I was doing stuff. And the moment I said I was doing that, I was like, right, I'm doing it. And I did it. But what I had this thing in there to try and help me get used to the discipline was the moment I thought anything, however small, as like an excuse, I did the opposite. So, you know, like just silly things. You'd throw your clothes towards the clothes bin as you were getting in bed or something.
Yeah.
And they land relatively close to it. And your mind goes, oh, I should go and pick that up. But you just go, oh, fuck it, it doesn't matter. It's just me. I'm going to get in bed. So I started implementing this thing just for my own mind of every time I thought something like that, I made myself go and do it. You know, like there's some rubbish on the side from my tea earlier. And I know, like before I'd have just left that. But now I know I'm going to take it outside to the bin before I go to bed. And it's just those little things. And I just think developing just the small I don't. It's weird because I don't like. I think there's a lot of hype around people saying sweat the small stuff and all that, and how you do anything's how you do everything. But I think there are certain elements to it. If you're not saying those words but actually doing the doing, it's massively important because you just hold yourself accountable. If you can get the stuff right that no one gives a toss about, you know what I mean? No one cares if your clothes go in the clothes bin or you take the rubbish outside, but you're holding yourself to a standard. And the main thing there is the thought, because to me, I've lived my life, a good chunk of my life, making excuses. And I think that now, the moment you start to like not make an excuse for anything, like the moment you start saying things like, oh, it doesn't matter, oh, I'll do it later. Where does that end? Because for me, it never ended in good places. You know what I mean? And I think that's, people overlook things like that.
So do you know anyone with genuine OCD? Like clinical medicated OCD at all?
No, not like...
Not a loaded question, by the way. Not a trick question.
No, you know, like I know what you mean, like them that are like flicking light switch on and off, or the family will die and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so compulsions. So you get obsessions, the clue's in the title. So obsessive compulsive disorder. And a lot of the time, literally, it's mental, right? But my dad has had it clinically diagnosed for 5 years now. Coming up to 6 years. And for him, he had a traumatic event where he was pulled out by a riptide down in Devon. And it kind of triggered this break for him. He had a psychotic break, basically, because of it. Hello, Seema. Hope you're well. Seema's liked my recent influx of less toxic videos that I've put of myself up on Instagram. So my dad was diagnosed. He was sectioned and all that kind of shit for it. Been medicated since, and like to the point where, so for example, he's always had it. Now looking back, he's had it since he was a kid, right? So this obsessive compulsive disorder, it's a voice in your head that says, basically, you've got to do it. You've got to do it. It's a compulsion. It's an obsession, and if you don't put out that fire, it rages. So he, at 2 o'clock in the morning, one morning, my mum came outside and he was counting the bricks on the outside of the house. And he'd been there for an hour counting the bricks one by one because that thing had said, if he doesn't, bad stuff's going to happen, right? And it's so strong that he has to do it. He can't not do it. It's not an option for him. And all the NLP, all the CBT, all of the medication, all of the remapping that people go through for OCD, basically tells them none of this fucking shit matters. None of it. It's all useless. It's all nonsense. It's all in your head. So what they end up becoming at the other end of it is people that let the small stuff just go. They can't. They cannot. It's the equivalent. And I've sort of said to my dad in the past when we've talked about it, I think it's an addiction to like an obsession. Like they become so obsessed and addicted to the point it's destructive. It's an addiction to an idea, and that they can't not have it. They need their fix. They need their hit. They get this hit of endorphins or relief, from when they achieve this thought or they do the task. They get you're free. They get a mental clarity because they've done the job. So when they come out the other side of having gone through OCD, you don't go through it. You learn to live with it and cope with it. But they become a lot less caught up with the small stuff. They have to let things go. It would be the equivalent of her saying a heroin addict, like that's now gone fully off heroin. Oh, just have a little bit. You'll be all right. Yeah, we want you to have the good heroin. So what's ended up happening is people like my dad, if they drop their clothes near the basket and not put it in, by default, they have to let things go like that. And the thing that I find interesting now is where the fuck do you draw the line? Like, because there's a level of discipline that you have to have, but OCD is quite literally extreme toxic compulsion towards this warped version of accountability. It's a really fucking crazy thing to think about. It's really, really mad, literally. And it's something that I think everyone has obviously it's part of our DNA. We have compulsions, we have impulses that we have. But it's funny when you said about like that change. Paul, who I don't know who Paul is, has a magic laundry basket. When I put clothes in, the next day they're hanging clean. Wow, lucky Paul. On my finger. But like when you were saying about like that switch that you had, is I went through a little bit of a phase, you know, of switching that around. And I think I do have a predisposition towards OCD. However, acknowledged and taken hold of, it's fine. But it's tough when you try and balance that sort of obsessive disorder with trying to be accountable, because they're sort of the same thing, but one is destructive and one is constructive. And figuring out the line is very, very, very hard. You know, like at what point do you tell someone that's got OCD, you can't be obsessive about that stuff that makes complete sense in your head, by the way. Counting those bricks at 2 o'clock in the morning to my dad felt completely logical. Right? It made sense, just like 1 + 1 = 2. But the stuff like putting your washing in the basket, or if you've put your rubbish and the bin isn't quite shut properly, like, oh, I've got to shut the bin lid properly. Like, if you start going down that road, in no time at all, you're doing your laces 5 times, 1 for each of your family members. Because if you don't do all 5, one of them's going to die. It's for someone with OCD.
Oh yeah, for someone,
it's a really quick change back, and it's something they have to live with. In that sense, they have to decide, I got to not sweat the small stuff. And
I think OCD is another one of those things, isn't it? Similar to a lot of, because I guess OCD you could group up into some form of mental health issue. It's another one of those things that's just, it's almost lost its meaning, hasn't it? Because people would call what I've just described as OCD because, you know what I mean? And then if you go up the spectrum of people that have no discipline and that are messy, they'd relate even less to me doing those things and be like, oh God, he's so OCD. And it's like, so that for me, like, you know, when I think about OCD, when you first said it, I initially thought of people like me, but a little bit more. I didn't go to that extreme level, which is actually OCD, where you're talking about your dad counting bricks at 2 a.m.
But it was common parlance. It's part of our language. Like you say, oh bloody hell, he's got OCD, like because he bloody, you know, switches a light switch off and double checks it a couple of times. Like, that is probably a really mild form of OCD. But so, and herein lies the thing, right? Is that if you know anyone with any form of mental health or mental illness, you will fully understand that it's completely illogical. It's not normal. It's not logical. And that is by definition what it is. It's a mental illness. It's the opposite of logic. It's
so, you know, your dad then, for an example, in that, you know, in the example you gave, once he'd done that, and then he's happy, he's satisfied, that compulsion in that moment, you know, like the next morning when you sat around breakfast, is he able to acknowledge that was mental then? Is that what you mean? Or does he not, can he not, was he that far gone that he couldn't even recognize that it was a little bit weird?
No, because it's constant. It's quite literally 24/7. So he got to a point where before he was medicated and he was, you know, sectioned, where once one compulsion had finished, it was right, next thing, I've got to do another thing. and something would take over. It's a constant fight against these
that's
compulsions.
crazy, isn't it? That's just like so intense.
It's a mental virus. It just completely takes over. So this is exactly the point, is there's no small stuff. So the small stuff for me and you, and again, like, and I'm not, and this is, so because of this, and this is what I was going to come on to, is that, so that was 2020 that triggered with my dad, and it all started unraveling. Since then, I've become a lot more compassionate and empathetic to people with mental health, genuine illnesses, right? Because it is anti-logic. It's illogical. So if you're someone with logic, if you're someone that isn't in that boat, it's really fucking easy to go, well, just don't think it. Just don't. It would be like saying it's someone that's suicidal, oh, cheer up, mate. You're all right. Life's fine. It's like anyone with a mental health issue or an illness is by definition unable to relate to what you're saying to them, because they're in a completely different state of mind than you are. That's what mental illness is. So when you, and it relates outside of that, because like, obviously, you know, like, I'm really good friends with Athena Perez, and we talk a lot, and this is where that gray area comes in. And again, I've become a lot more compassionate and empathetic with people that are severely obese and overweight, because yes, it is a matter of this food equals this result. This amount of food, this lack of movement equals this result. But you could say the same thing to my dad, because the action of eating.
Oh, I don't know, mate.
It's a really tricky thing to talk about and think about, right? Because the action of going outside in the middle of the night and counting those bricks, it's an action. It's not a thought process. He's gone out and physically done something that he know. In retrospect now, he's like, of course that's mad. Of course that's crazy. Of course. But in the moment, in that moment when he was doing that task, that obsessive, compulsion, that made perfect sense to him. And people damn well know that eating donuts all day and eating too many calories, you're going to put on weight. And the thing is, it's an action based on illogic.
I completely disagree on that. Like, you are absolutely doing that to yourself with consequences. That's not a mental health disorder. It starts somewhere, and it starts through, whether it's weakness, ignorance, whatever you want to call it, it starts and it snowballs. And then what? It's just too difficult to get off the couch. It's too difficult to stop eating. They are conscious decisions that a person is making. When we talk about your dad and extreme OCD, that's not a conscious decision in terms of a conscious that you would call healthy. And I think I love shit food, and I stop myself from eating it because I know it's bad. And what makes me any different to anyone else, other than I'm taking responsibility for not putting stuff in my mouth that will eventually kill me? It's not an addiction. It might, to me, that is just something that people say to justify the state they're in. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be helped, but until that person that's obese actually admits that they've done it to themselves and they're the only ones that can get themselves out of it, then there's absolutely no coming back from it. And I think,
do you think the same could be said about OCD then? So until my dad recognized that he had a problem, he couldn't be sectioned, because until he acknowledged that he had problems and that OCD wasn't normal, he couldn't seek help. He couldn't move on. He couldn't get medication. He couldn't get assistance. He couldn't acknowledge it until he decided that it was on him to change, until he decided it was his problem.
The fundamental difference is he had a problem that needed fixing with medication. Somebody that's obese, and I'm generalizing, I'm quite happy to generalize, and I'll die on the hill of it.
Yeah.
They don't need medication. They just need to stop doing the bad thing. Like,
do you think then? So
if you go down, but if you go down that route, mate, you're making the same case. This is an awful comparison. I'm not saying that there's any comparison between the two groups, but that's like saying, you know, like a paedophile's fucking, you know, okay, because it's not really their fault. It's just a compulsion, and I can't like
people though. That's affecting other people.
Yeah, and what is like an obese population that affects everybody?
No.
It affects our health services. It affects everyone else.
What I mean,
it's completely different. But
yeah, and you did preface that by saying it's not the same thing. But if your paedophiles directly change and affect and destroy someone else's life by the act of what they are doing, whereas if an obese people eating a donut, that's not directly impacting and changing and destroying someone else's life.
But they're still both making conscious actions that they know are, and again, it's such a terrible comparison, but they're both still making conscious decisions to act on an impulse that they know is wrong.
Yeah. So
that's the difference. Whereas your dad wasn't acting on an impulse that he knew was wrong because there was something in him that needed fixing in his mind, you know.
So do you think obese people think that it's okay to eat donuts and sugar and get fat?
Well, yeah, otherwise they wouldn't do it. I think maybe they got to a point. I always think with obese people, like, at what point did you kind of say, or not think, oh God, you know what? I'm getting a bit overweight here. Because, you know, at my peak, I'm 5'10". At my peak, I was 17 stone, which is fucking big for my height.
Yeah.
And I remember the moment my mum and dad and my sister all would start doing a weight loss thing, and I never cared. Like, I was confident, happy. And they bought some scales in the house. And I got on the scales. And when I got on the scales, I was like, fucking hell. I'd looked at myself in the mirror every day, but when I got on the scales and saw a number, I was like, that's a lot. So from that day forward, I went on a diet, and like we talked about it a couple of weeks back, I ate soup, so it weren't like I was training and doing all that. I was disciplined because I knew it wasn't okay, and I knew I was going to die.
But until that point, did you think it was okay?
No, I didn't care. Like, I don't think I had the thoughts at all because I didn't care. I was confident. I was still, you know, I got more ladies than I do now somehow. So, you know, all those things, they didn't really bother me, but I knew that eating like shit was not good for me. But I kind of did it eyes wide open almost. And I feel like a lot of people that hide behind, oh, I'm addicted to food. I never said I was addicted to food. I was just a greedy fat bastard that decided he wanted to eat something. And I think, you know, if you take responsibility for that, whereas I think the more we start saying, oh, obese people are addicted to food or this, that, you're taking the responsibility away from them. And when someone's severely overweight, the only way they can get out of that is through self-accountability and responsibility. Yeah. And the moment you allow them to blame something else or compare it to a mental health illness or anything else, you're setting them up for failure because you're not getting them to take responsibility.
So bear in mind, like, so over the last 12 years, I've probably had 4 or 5 clients that have lost over 100 pounds in body weight. And at no point have I had a conversation with them where I've said, I think you're gluttonous. I think you're lazy. I think you're using excuses. And I think that you are wrong. I've never once had that conversation. Bear in mind, I've owned 2 affiliates and I've helped so many people lose weight. I've done it myself. I've helped.
But why would you have to, mate? Why would you have to have that conversation with someone that's walking through a gym door in a very vulnerable state, probably got low self-esteem and confidence? They you know, you don't have to call them names because they don't need a reality check. They are taking action to make themselves better.
But that isn't always people that have walked in the gym, though.
I don't know. It takes some bollocks to walk in a gym at any age, let alone.
Of the people, my sample group that I've helped, they haven't always been people that have walked in a gym and said, I need help.
Oh, you mean you've gone out looking for fat people in the street?
Well, not in the street, but in friends of friends and that kind of thing. I've had conversations at parties and that kind of thing. And, you know, the recruitment of, and again, at no point have I ever said, on the opposite of that, where they shouldn't be accountable, where it shouldn't be from them, where they need to be responsible, where it's their choice. All of this is, but I'm not entirely convinced it's just down to being a lazy bastard. I think so here's a question. How do you feel? Do you have a holiday, a week away, right? Where you eat shit, you have loads of beers, and you just feel shit. Your body,
but like in doing that, I'm not making an excuse. I will always train. I'll eat like shit. I'll drink like shit.
Yeah.
When I'm when I'm away, definitely. But I will train every single day, and I'll know I feel terrible even though I'm training. I feel that feeling, and I said it to. I can't remember who it was that I was away with last, and I said it to them. I was like, and I made that exact thing you're saying. I was like, God, this must be how lazy people feel all the time. It's like horrible. But if you never know, any different, I don't want to say lazy, but like, I just think it is lazy. We'll come on to it in a bit because I was going to talk to you about Bumble and some interactions I've had on a dating app. But I do this thing, right? Someone said to me, they were seeing me on it and they were like, oh God, you just swipe on people that are rotund. And they were like, oh, do you just not? And I said, it sounds really mean, but it isn't about how they look. It's about what that represents in terms of their personality. And I'm happy to be wrong on that, but I would just generally, and it is a massive generalization and it's completely anecdotal, but there must be a very, very, very high percentage of people that are overweight that are lazy. When I was severely overweight, I was fucking bone idle, absolutely bone idle. Like
when you were overweight and you felt really shitty, did you still train? Were you training then?
I wasn't training then.
So how did you combat feeling bad then if you were like...
Well, I probably didn't know that I felt bad because that was just how I felt. You know what I mean? I knew that...
So do you think that other people just might feel that way? They don't know they feel bad. They don't know that they're in
but they do, don't they? Like, I think I felt like shit and that was normal, but I knew it wasn't normal, if that makes sense, because I'm aware enough. You know, if I'm walking up a small flight of stairs and I'm out of breath, I know that's not normal. It might be my normal, but it's not normal. I know that if I can't sit down or stand up without going, oof, that's not normal. Again, might be my normal, but again, that's the blinkered view that people that don't take responsibility know. They're like, oh, everyone must feel like this. Well, no, that's just you thinking that to justify how you feel. And that, I think that's the difference. I don't know. There's something about it that they're not taking, in some element or some description, they're not taking responsibility. And I think that's the same with anyone that, you know, I don't know, that's just my take on it. And I know I've managed teams in the past in my various roles. And, you know, the ones that caused you the most problem in terms of sick days and being off and being around were always people that were severely overweight. Like, you know, it's such a high percentage of people. So, and that stems from that lack of work ethic for me or lack of responsibility. And I'm harsh on that because I've been there myself and I know how I was. And until I decided that it wasn't okay, no one, you know, no one could, like, I don't know, nobody was like going to make me better except me. And until I took responsibility for it, I just had no chance. And
I think
nobody's eating the stuff. Nobody's eating the stuff as well. The stuff that you have to eat to get into that condition. Nobody thinks that's good. You know what I mean? You might, you know, like, I know we've been fed bullshit about, you know, cereals and sugar and all that being okay. But even the stuff that's classed as healthy in the health industry in the UK, which isn't, we know it isn't. But even that stuff, they'd have to do a pretty good fucking number on that stuff to get to the obese level. So it's obviously takeaways, fast food, junk food, crisps, pop, sugary drinks, all that stuff. Nobody ever drinks that. You know, like one of my mates the other day said he stopped drinking Red Bull and started drinking sugar-free Red Bull because he found out there were 50 grams of sugar in a can or whatever it is. It's like, nobody thinks that's okay. Like, nobody thinks that's okay. I used to eat kebabs. That was my meal of choice. I never sat down. I love a kebab, but I never sat down to it. I put about another 500 calories of mayo on it. I never sat down and thought, oh, it probably ain't this that's making me fat. You know what I mean? I knew what I was doing. I knew I was putting stuff in my mouth, but I did it anyway. And then I knew that.
Do you think?
I don't know.
And Seema's just reminded me of this. So thanks, Seema. Do you think? Do you allow a certain degree of like thought around the fact that people eat to escape? Like people drink alcohol.
What you're escaping, mate? You can't. Them people couldn't escape a chair.
No, but like. So if I'm feeling rubbish, which I don't because I've got an amazing life, right? But if ever I imagine hypothetically, right, if I felt shit about myself or I'd had a bad day or whatever and I was massively stressed, what stress relief would I go to? So because I've learned through education and being in this industry, I would listen to something. I'd add some frozen fruit for a sweet hit. I would, but on a Saturday night, because it's the end of the week, I have a bottle of beer and I have a pizza every fucking Saturday night because for me, that is a hit of high fat, high sugar. I get a dopamine release. I feel incredible because I've had that. But then the Sunday, I feel rotten. I feel really shit. And I go to that because it helps me escape the mental. Why do people have alcohol? They have, it's clear from about 10 minutes internet research how to, yes. And it's obvious that not being on heroin is probably a good problem, but try telling that to a heroin addict.
But heroin, the thing with
alcoholic.
Yeah, but the thing is with that, you're talking there about addictions that are actual addictions. This is where society is very dangerous because all these, when we allow things into realms they don't belong in, everything gets worse. So this is why mental health has a negative stigma because every bad day is a mental health issue. This is why OCD has a negative stigma because, he's clean. He just put his rubbish away. He's got OCD. He don't want illegal immigration. He's racist. All words start to lose meaning. And the moment you group things such as, he's addicted to food in with alcohol and drug addiction, it loses meaning because you can become addicted to
you don't have to have heroin in your diet.
I know, but
you don't have to take a course of heroin or cocaine 3 times a day to stay healthy.
It's good though, isn't it?
You have to eat. You have to eat. So, and again, I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate.
But you don't have to eat 5,000 calories a day. Nobody's just having a quarter a little syringe of heroin, are they, and saving the rest for later. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me started on that.
No, but you see what I'm getting at there, don't you? Like, if you're getting rid of one of the firmer established addictions that we classify as, and by the way, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm straw man in this debate, right? So and again, I talked to Grant about this last night because I don't know, I won't go into it in depth because I don't know how much of it is public knowledge, right? But Grant is very into his food, right? And he has fucking drastic measures, right? And I'll tell you off air what he has to do to not eat in the middle of the night and to not eat shit food, right?
You could just be asleep like normal people.
Yeah, but normal people don't wake up in the middle of the night and go down to the fridge at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, that isn't normal human behavior.
No, it's a lack of discipline. It's a lack. You can't convince me that that's an addiction. That's just utter shit. Like, just don't do it. You know you shouldn't be doing it, so don't do it. Like,
say that to a heroin addict then.
My thing with heroin is like, just don't fucking do it in the first place because you know where that leads. Like, at the moment you have one donut, You don't need another. You might want one, but you don't need one. Like heroin is like, I have no sympathy for a heroin addict because they did it to themselves. But what I will say is that is an addiction. The point of that is,
why do they take heroin in the first place?
Because it's meant to be fucking great, isn't it?
Well, it's probably yummy. Like if I had a hit of heroin, I'd probably say this is delicious. But the thing is, I'm aware that I shouldn't do it. So and this was my point with Grant, right? I was having this discussion with him last night. Not once in my life have I been morbidly obese, and I am perfectly happy with feeling hungry. For me, I'm most of the day hungry. I'm like, it's just being hungry. It's not a problem. Like I can deal with it. I go days where I don't eat. And so the way that I see people that come out and are really strong, and by the way, I used to feel the same way, right? So, and this is 2 points to this, right? Have you ever met an ex-smoker?
I am in it. I smoked as well. I was a full banger, mate.
Right. So ex-smokers are the most dogmatic anti-smokers out there.
Oh, see, mate, when I walk past someone I guess this is where I might be different in these elements. So I decided, when I decided to quit smoking, I just woke up one day and went, I'm not smoking. So I didn't smoke because I never were like, I'm addicted. I was like, I'm choosing to smoke. Everyone just claims they want to quit, but they don't want to quit. Otherwise they quit. I woke up one day and stopped smoking. And now, if I walk past someone on the street and they're smoking and I smell it, I'm like, and then I just carry on walking. I'm never like, I just,
you know what I mean?
Because again, it's responsibility. It's all responsibility.
But Heidi, as usual, is completely missing this part of the comment. She must have switched off for a minute when I said this. I fully accept it is the person's fault. It is their fault. It is their fault. I've said it 3 times again now. It is that person's fault for what they're doing to their own body. Just like the heroin addicts is injecting that into their system. It's their fault, right? But what are you going to do about it? What are you? And this is where being an affiliate owner and being someone that genuinely changed lives, not through my own doing, through the methodology, right? Genuinely changed lives. You've got to decide, is being a fucking David Goggins hard ass saying people are lazy cunts and they're to blame and you're not accountable, you're being lazy. Does that shit work?
It does if people are ready to hear the message. Let me ask you this question, right? Yeah. All that stuff I've said, and I know I've been quite firm, and like I say, I've just got my reasons for it, and I believe them entirely, otherwise I won't say them. But anyone that is maybe obese or whatever, that listened to what I was saying, if they're on the journey to become, and I'm going to say better, because you are going to become better in terms of your impact on society, your impact on your family, your impact on yourself, blah, 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 blah.
Hell yeah.
Anybody that's made a decision, or like that Athena maybe works with, they do not listen to what I've just said and are offended. Anybody that's obese and isn't taking action will be offended. That's the difference. Because, and that's why it all comes down to responsibility. Like nobody's offended by something that they have accepted is true when it is true. And I think that's where we draw the line, and that's where I think like points get missed and messed. If you, I don't know.
No, I completely agree. And Heidi,
I give me a lot on that as well, mate. Like,
and me too. Hashtag me too. Right. The second he was on Joe Rogan, the second his book came out, I was a completely changed man. Right. However, you've got to be. It's like, do you know, like creatine and beta alanine, right? So some people are super responders. Some people like anabolic steroids. Some people are really good responders to those drugs, right? And to those substances. Other people, it doesn't affect them. They get small, they get small results from it. Now, Goggins, his style and the way that he's done it, he is exactly that ex-smoker. He's the really obese guy that, by the way, was obese because he had a fucking terrible childhood and upbringing. You've got to listen to the first 3 or 4 chapters of his first book to realize his dad was a pimp, his mum was whored out, and he escaped his dad. He had a shit childhood, right? He didn't have any role models. He became morbidly obese because of a shit upbringing, right? And because his only escape, his only go-to feel-good thing that he could have in his life was shitty food that he knew was bad for him, but it made him feel good at the time, right? And as a kid growing up, that's how that became. And then he got his B, whatever it was. He was B exterminator or whatever. It was a while ago, whatever it was. And then he did that 100-mile thing. And then it all went that he went click and he changed completely. And it's those people that go so hard from one end to the other. They are the people that very, very rarely lack the ability to have gray area. They go from black, and they have to, and I'm bringing this back to my dad's point earlier, they have to, by design, go from black directly to white. There is no room for nuance, for empathy, for understanding, for sympathy, because they had to go from black to white. So they don't understand why people now can't also do that jump that they did. But because those other people aren't wired up the same way. They might lack the accountability. They might lack the discipline. They might lack the focus. They might not be as good as you. And sometimes that's correct. Like, I'm never going to be an Olympic athlete. I wasn't good enough. I didn't have the mindset. I was shit. That's
different, because you're talking mindset versus ability versus skill. I think the reason people like Goggins go so far the other way is because they look at themselves and say, if I can do it, anyone can, because they were the lowest of the low. If you'd have said to him in his lowest moment, you're going to be this motivational guy that runs thousands of miles a month or a week or whatever he bloody does, he would have said, no, I'm fucking not. And that's the difference. So, like, I think when you come out of it, you realize that the only way out of it is through responsibility. And I think that to say someone that doesn't take action or doesn't take responsibility for their own life, like,
think about that. They're not in a place where they're willing to save their own life. That is the very bedrock of survival.
But
and
that to me is,
it's not, it can't be just a pure lack of discipline and laziness. They're overriding the very genetic predisposition for a human or any animal of survival. They know they're doing something that goes against that, but yet they're carrying on doing it. It can't just be a lack of discipline.
But I think the problem is, because we are, especially now, if you look at pictures from the 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s compared to now, the general population and the obesity rates have gone up. It's because we've started to feed people full of sugar and shit, but then tell them it's okay. And that's the difference. How is somebody that's looking for an excuse ever going to take responsibility when most people are saying, oh God, you've had a bad day. Yeah, you have a cake, duck. Like, fuck off. Like, that's why. It's not about they're not able to take responsibility. They've been conditioned to think that it's okay to not take responsibility. And that's society as a whole right now. Everybody's conditioned to blame someone else, or it's not my fault. Oh, I'm oppressed. Oh, I'm hard done to. Oh, I'm a fucking whatever. It's nonsense. Like, the more you put your arm around people that have got themselves into difficult positions and tell them it's okay, it's not their fault. Like, don't get me wrong, we need to give people a leg up and we need to help them, but we need to make it very clear that it's on them, it's their responsibility, and without their buy-in, they will never improve and never get better. And we 100%. Get that wrong. We put the 100%. Arm around and we don't give them the tough love, we just give them love, and then they go through the fucking floor.
100% agree with you, in so much as we shouldn't be telling them that they're great the way they are, that physically, they're great the way they are. And they should stay that way. And if you're happy, you stay there. You're good like you are.
But they're not happy, are they? I remember Joe Rogan said it with Goggins on that podcast. He went, people, like, if you gave them a button today and they could press it and they'd be healthy. Everyone presses that button. No one goes, oh, I'm going to stay fat. I'm going to stay like this. Nobody.
Right. So, question to yourself and Heidi then is, you've got Goggins on one end. Okay. Here's that method that you're shit. You need to change. You're weak. You need accountability. Let's go. On the other side, you've got the arm around, say, the Lizzos of 2 years ago, whenever it was, saying body
What
positivity.
do you mean before she took Ozempic? You know what I mean? That sums it all up, doesn't it?
You're healthy the way you are. You're fine the way you are. You carry on living your best life. On the other end, is there room somewhere in the middle, or do you both want Goggins type for everyone?
I think the middle's very... I think the problem with the middle is in that line that you've just drawn with body positivity and don't worry, even though you're going to die in 3 years, you do you, you're so healthy. And Goggins, that point in the middle you're talking about should be the end. It should be, everyone should be in this middle position of, oh, maybe it's not okay, maybe it is okay, but I need some support, but I need to take responsibility, up to Goggins. There should be no fucking below the middle in that spectrum for me, because the moment you start telling people it's okay to be unhealthy, it's okay to look that way in any capacity, you set them up for failure, because the people that are these people, I guess you have to say, are in some capacity weak.
Yep.
So the moment you give them validation and justification to be weak, they'll lap it up because it's an endorphin hit almost. Oh, I am okay. I'm doing well. Like,
so do you, if someone was to come into the box and to say, I'm happy the way I am, but I want to get better and I want to lift heavier and I want to do that, what would your response to them as a coach or as an owner? What do you think you'd say to them?
So what? So a new members come in, they're obese. Morbidly obese, and when they've come to the gym just to get stronger,
and they just want to move, and they've said, I'm happy the way that I am. Would you say to them, cool, or and get moving, knowing damn well that over the course of the next 2 years, if they keep with it and you weren't hardline with them, they would gradually change through education, through movement, through the community they're in. They would get better.
Absolutely. And
without the Goggins approach.
Yeah, but what I would say on that, mate, is that the psychology of that's quite interesting, the way you frame that question, because I would say that, and just caveat it with, I'm not a coach and I never will be. Somebody walking into a gym that's obese, overweight, old, injured, whatever it may be, other than, you know, just the standard reasons, going in and saying, oh, I'm not here to lose weight, that's their defense mechanism of saying, I'm aware I'm overweight. Nobody walks into the gym without a clear goal. And that goal is to get better, regardless of what that better looks like. So I think that anybody that walks in saying that is lying to protect themselves, otherwise they wouldn't be there. So then as a coach, I would recognize that. And then, like you say, I wouldn't correct them and say, well, you are going to get this, you are going to get that. I'd be like, I read between the lines. I know why you're here. We're all here for the same reason, just different levels of where we're at.
So, okay, say, and this might be a question for Elliot, like, you know, that you might want to ask him and Stephen and Carl and everyone that we know that's an affiliate owner, and Gareth's on Tuesday, by the way, is, and this is coming directly from a quote from Abby, right, over the weekend. And this really fucking hit me hard when she said this, was there probably will be a ceiling. There will be a limit. There will be a top amount that you can do to change someone's opinion, their life, or their placement, or how well they can do and recruit people into CrossFit. There may well be a limit. There will be a limit, right? There's only so much you can do, right? And this is the first part of my statement, by the way, right? But have you reached that limit? Have you done everything that you can to get them in? Or have you decided, not worth it, can't be bothered wasting my time? Or have you gone the full route and done everything that you can to help those people, recruit them to get into the gyms? As this, you was talking to me as a recruiter for CrossFit per se. We were talking about this. And so the question then to affiliate owners is, we can't rely on HQ. We can't rely on HQ. The amount you can change influence people is the amount they're honest about it. Yeah. So we can't rely on HQ to be really specific about one, local advertising, but two, real specific advertising that we want as a gym. So let's say I want to recruit, very, very, very poignant, right? Let's say I want to recruit adaptive, so disabled people into the gym. I think there's a big market for getting more disabled people into the gym, right? Have I done enough so far for getting them in the gym? No, I've never advertised as an affiliate owner. I never advertised the fact that I had the room or capability to coach disabled people, right? Have I ever seen an advert go out from an affiliate towards specifically towards disabled people? I haven't. I've never seen one. So the question is, why not? Okay, one, and again, Abby said these exact words. It's not finger pointing. It's not blaming. It's not saying you're a shit human. It's saying there's this vast opportunity of a whole group of people that are missing out on CrossFit, and affiliates. Even if you look from a financial perspective, have you done enough to recruit from all these different groups that are available here? There are thousands and thousands and thousands of disabled people across the UK that want something to do. They want to feel special. They want to feel like they're into a sport, but they've got no fucking idea that we've got 10 different divisions of adaptive sport in CrossFit alone. We've got 600 affiliates across the UK. Not one of them advertise coaching specifically towards disabled people to come into the gym. So are we doing enough? And this is just one category of people, by the way. This is just like disabled people. Are we doing enough to demonstrate and to show them that we have the capability, we have the coaching, we have the care, we have the community. It's for anyone, right? Are we doing enough for that category of people? Probably not. We haven't reached that limit yet. So I've taken it on personally in our gym in the Isle of Man to see what I can do to do that. And once I've hit that limit of everything that I feel like I can do, I know that I've done what I can do. So there we cook. That's one thing category. Now, moving back
this is a good point, mate, because this is what I was thinking then when you were speaking. I think that's the thing. Coaches feel comfortable because it is a very, very specific skill. It's not like just scaling for Johnny who's got a bad knee and can't be asked to do a burpee, is it? It's like you've got to really be good.
So it's called adapting, and that's why it's the adaptive division. So here's the answer to that, right? And I'm going to pull it up in a sec. And this was the second part to what I was going to say. Where are we? Here we go. So there's a company called Alt Movement, right? Alternative Movement, Adaptive Training. These guys, I'll come up on the screen.
Can you add that, or do I have to?
Yeah, there we go. So Alt Movement. So it's run by a guy called Craig. He is to do with Whataptive. He's one of the programmers, and that he has his own specific gym called Alt Movement, and Alt Movement is coaching and training for CrossFit coaches on how to adapt and how to learn language, how to talk, how to recruit disabled people into your gym. That is a tool that is right there and able for coaches to learn how to do that. And do you know the other thing as well? Is that, it's really fucking uncomfortable sometimes. Like, it's not going to be easy, but surely as a coach, you want your trade, your profession, you want to be the best coach, and you want to be able to have anyone walk in and you can make them a fucking athlete and get them healthy or healthier, right? That's the whole point of being a coach. You give a shit. You could stack shelves at Tesco's or Walmart and you could earn more than you are doing as an affiliate owner or as a coach most of the time. Affiliate owners have the worst car in the car park outside. Think of that. Affiliate owners always got the shittest car, right? Why? Because they're doing what they love doing and they give a shit about people. And what other group of people could you want more in your gym than the people the most vulnerable that you can help and make the biggest difference in their fucking life for an hour a day? It's the disabled community. So why wouldn't you want to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable? Like when I'm coaching Claire she's a wheelchair user. She had an accident 3 years ago. The conversations I've had with her over the last couple of years, it's like you think, oh fuck, have I said the right thing? Is my language right? Have I said the wrong thing? But disabled people are fucking, they're just humans. They're like me and you, right? And they're not finger blaming. They're not like, what did you say? Oh, I'm outraged. It's like, no, actually, we don't use that word. Or and at the weekend, it was a fucking eye opener, and it really blew my mind. And I was like, I'm not doing enough. Here's a project for me to get my teeth into, to really fucking make a difference in people's lives on top of all the other shit that we're doing in CrossFit. It's one group of people that we haven't done. Now, back to the fucking square one. Do we do enough with all of the knowledge that we have, including the continuum, right? So this is exactly what it is, right? You want to take people, and we talked about that line in the middle, that gray area, this, right? Wellness. That's that gray area. We want people, whether we like it or not, there are millions, hundreds of millions of people that are here right now, right this second that we're talking right now. There are hundreds of millions of people that are sat here right now. How do we get those people engaged and want to come to the gym, other than saying, they need to decide themselves, they need to be accountable? What can we be doing to recruit them, to give them the information and the kick up the arse that you were able to do by yourself, that I don't have to ever do because I've never been obese or in a position where I've had to have that? How do we get these people right here into our gyms? Is it continuously fucking putting out posters of Fee Sagarfi, Tia Claire Toomey hugging her kid, and Jason Hopper doing SOTS press? Is that going to recruit these people so that we can take them into wellness and towards health? Have we done enough? Have we hit that ceiling? Have we done everything that we can? Like I described with the disabled people, and I know I'm not saying they're the same group. Have we done enough to convince them that they should do the right thing and come in and make those changes? Because we have that knowledge, we have that power, we have all of the testimonials, we have the video evidence, we have it all. And are we doing enough? I don't think we are doing enough. And do we need to do enough is the question.
I think it's a very difficult group to market to, because when you're talking about disabled people, like you said, a lot of those will wish there were something for them, and want to do something that, I'm not saying they're not normal, but makes them feel like part of normal society, which CrossFit absolutely does. And that's what you were at the weekend with class. But I think the difficulty there, you can market specifically to those people by using alt movement and all that kind of good stuff. But how do you market to fat people? Like, you can't be like, right, we've got a fat class or we've got this. It's much more difficult, because once again, it comes back to the responsibility piece of a lot of the people you're talking about that are disabled. They just probably don't know something exists that they want.
Yep.
Anybody that's overweight knows these things exist and chooses not to use them. It's not like, they might not necessarily know that CrossFit's infinitely scalable and can help them, but they do know gyms exist, and they do know that, eating healthy exists and all those things. So it's such a difficult group to market to, because again, they're a protected species as well, like maybe dish out some free donuts, get a free donut with your first class, do whatever you need to get them through the door. But then,
so you say we can't do a fat only class. Well, I've got to call it something different, larger bodied athlete class.
Yeah, but
hang on, wait. Why isn't it coming up?
Heidi's nailed it. 11 a.m. fatties only.
I'm trying to bring up this. It's taking fucking forever to come up. Hang on. There we go. Right. So Scaled Nation, Athena's thing, right? Her gym in the US is specifically for morbidly obese people. And she does seminars on how to adjust, how to adapt, how to recruit morbidly obese people into your gyms.
I had a question for you on this, actually. I think the last time I learned about this, or maybe even listened to it. So what happens when you graduate? You know what I mean? Oh, you're not obese no more, you can't come. Is it like that? Or if you're once a fatty, always a fatty?
Well, it's a case of, once you feel comfortable, because you have to remember, not all morbidly obese, you've said it yourself, they probably don't feel that comfortable being around healthier, fitter looking people. So once you get to a point with your confidence and your performance and your health that you feel comfortable doing that, then you're likely to, it's like 60, I don't know if your gym where you go to has like a 60 plus class. So a lot of gyms
Mate, it's
these days have.
just started today.
Yeah. So
And my mum and dad went, mate. I'm so fucking proud of him. Like they're on the photo of the project under the sign, like photos. Mate, it made my fucking heart just like explode when I saw him. It was beautiful.
Yeah. So would you tell them that they can't do the regular CrossFit sessions?
They did it today. They did the class. It was just a version that suited their
is it
age.
60 plus only? So the class that they went to, was it like a Silvers Club, like 60 plus or something?
Yeah, they didn't call it that. Anyone was welcome, but it was specifically aimed at, and the marketing was done at people that are a bit older and haven't trained for a while and need some support.
Yeah. So a lot of gyms now, I run one on a Thursday. It's for a church group that came to me to say, the lady that runs it came to me and asked me if I could. And we've got a class of about 10 women over 60 that come in and train, and unknowingly they do CrossFit, right? But the last few weeks, a couple of them have said, oh, are there any other classes here? Like, because we always do it in the middle of the afternoon when no one's around. I said, well, yeah, that we've got classes ranging from 6 a.m. until 9 o'clock at night. Oh, can we do those? I was like, hell yeah. But what I mean to say is, once people have gained the knowledge, confidence, understanding, they understand the room, there's nothing stopping them from then being involved in the regular classes. So it's the same with Scaled Nation. They offer, I don't want to say the word, but safe space. They'll offer a class specific for people with different needs and different, levels of what they want from the gym, right? And then when they get to a point, just like the over 60s that have never been in a gym, that have never done strength training, they don't want to be around 25-year-olds with their shirts off yet. Give it a few months, and then they gain that little bit of confidence to think, I can do that. Like, I can join that class. I'm not odd one out. I can be involved in that. Not everyone walks into the gym thinking they're elite. We forge elite fitness in our gyms. People don't walk in elite. They forge it. And it's not elite performance. It's elite mindset. And it permeates outside of the gym. We know this shit. We know what it can do for people. We know what it does to people. We know the change in behaviors. We know the adaptations it makes. We know that it makes people live longer. We know that people are healthier. They avoid surgeries. Their blood markers get infinitely better. Their hormonal profiles get better. We know all of this shit. We've seen it hundreds of thousands of times. We've got the testimonials, right? We know all this shit. But are we doing enough to get it out there? Are we telling people all of this information? We cannot rely on HQ. They can't possibly do it all. Like, let's say there's 10,000 affiliates. Each of those affiliates has a bare minimum of 20 lives that have been drastically improved and changed, right? What effort would it take for each affiliate to make 10 videos, right, over the course of a year?
This is what I think on that is I agree that it isn't on HQ, in on CrossFit UK as such, but they are in a unique position to do better from a media point of view, to share stories that they hear on town halls or roundtables or whatever. That could be arguably be better. And I think that's the difference, because saying to gyms, well, what would it take for them to put 10 videos out? Like, I know, like from using Joey, for example, if you want to get a premium content creator, because if you're putting stuff out, it's got to be good. You know, you're looking at 600 quid for a day and then editing time. So you say that's $1,000 for 10 videos. Whereas, an organization like CrossFit could produce those 10 videos in a similar vein and then share them with everyone to use. And I just think CrossFit could do more. I'm not saying gyms shouldn't take responsibility and do more and everything should be handed to them, because they've got to take responsibility as a business owner. But it's not as easy as just that for some gyms that may be struggling a little bit more. And, so, we said all along, didn't we, the media that comes out of CrossFit, like at one point it was getting really, really good, and then it all just disappeared completely.
Right. So this
just help you do what you can do. I enjoy the learning process, progression, seeing your skills develop. And
I have to go back to the beginning of the video. But
I get what you're saying though. So I guess maybe it's that as well. Then people probably just need.
This took
Clive,
me.
and I'm 70.
I'm
45
Craig,
minutes
34.
I'm a retired
together.
ex-banker and
on my
business
phone.
consultant.
Took me 45 minutes to get footage.
Literally
interview
2 years.
the gents, ask them the
Been
same
here
4 questions.
about
I've
2.5
got a
years.
routine of
I feel
doing it.
better for it.
45 minutes after, it was live and it was on our Instagram account.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah, they could do more in that respect. I think some people like maybe don't. I think people sometimes maybe think stuff has to be too good, don't they? Too polished and too like almost like professional.
Yes.
So yeah,
I'm just gonna find something if I can. Hang on. Let's see if I can find it. Movies, images. Here we go. Right. I'm so glad I found this. Right. So this, you're gonna fucking love this, Steve. I found this. Yes, you are. You're gonna fucking love it. Right. This, if it ever comes up. Why isn't it fucking sharing it? Right. This, if it ever fucking comes up, I don't know what's going on with this shit. And I want you to look who's copied into this. Hang on. Is it up on your screen yet or not?
No, mate, I've just got that as the swirler.
Right, well, don't know what's going on. Hang on. I don't know why it's not coming up. Anyway, there we go. Right. Read the date on that. Hang on, I'll get rid of that quickly. Right, so the date on this. Sunday, February the 25th, 2018. Savon, I sent this directly to Savon then. And Greg replied to me. Thanks for sharing. Takes a lot. Thanks for taking care of the health and fitness of your community. I'm pushing this onto our media department and CF health team. They will be keenly interested, right? I made a really short, sharp video about one of my members, Liz, who had lost over 100 pounds, had completely come off insulin for a type 2 diabetes, reversed insulin, and was fit as a fiddle, had 8 kids. They came round about 3 weeks later with a team and filmed a mini documentary, like a 20-minute documentary, and it's still to this day on the YouTube account that people can go and watch. Now, I made a video, I emailed it in, I sent it to CrossFit, and they replied, and they came to me and did the job afterwards. I wasn't waiting around for them to come to me and ask if I had any member stories that I need to go to. It's always been the way that it happened. All of those videos that you see from back in the day, all of those testimonial videos, all those mini docs, it was the affiliates that sent it to CrossFit. It was just the way that it was. It's the way that it always worked, and it always has been. But now, for some reason, there's this expectation that HQ need to be doing all this shit. And we as affiliate owners, well, I say we, but that was back in the day, but that group of affiliate owners, they need to be more forthcoming and meet HQ and UK in the middle with this information and really push it. Have you done enough to get this conversation on the table? Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe you have. Like Abby said, maybe you have done as much as you can and it just doesn't come to fruition. But genuinely, like you said earlier, you know, you made that conscious change. If you throw your pants near the washing basket and they don't quite make it in, you've made that decision. Have I done enough to make sure that my house is tidy? And you now know that mindset of just do it. And that's why for me, the Nike thing has, that whole just do it thing has completely flipped in my head. Growing up, just do it everywhere. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. It meant nothing to me. And now it means so much more to me. Just do it. They've missed a word, fucking. Just fucking do it. Right. And that is it. It's the tone of just do it. It's not, hey, just do it. It's just do it. Like, and that completely escaped me growing up. And the last few years, I've really learned it, and I've really taken that to heart, the just do it thing. And I'm in the same boat as you. And by the sounds of it, Heidi Goggins, she's done the same thing. But Seema's gone through an incredible transformation the last couple of years. And she'll probably say herself, like, she went through a complete transformation up here and took accountability. And do you know the biggest thing? The biggest thing, and I'm not saying this because of Seema's here, and I'm not saying this is Seema, but the biggest thing that you can do is let go of control and give accountability to someone else. Be coachable, listen to instruction, because you've said it yourself, right? They're the same thing. They're not different thing. They're the same thing. To be accountable to yourself, you need to let go of control, and you need to give that accountability to something bigger than yourself. You need to patch into something bigger. Christians have it with their fella upstairs. They're always being watched. They're always being accountable to that one person, right? If you are in a class environment and you're being a coached class, you will always perform better than you would when you're on your own. If you're working with a nutritionist and they are on you daily and they are making you accountable, you will do better. But caveat to that is you've got to be willing to do the work. So it requires both sides of it. And Seema, for one, I've seen what she's done the last couple of years. She's been working with Mason, who is very tough love, but he's not tough love in the sense of you're a prick for what you've done. He's not that way. He's right. Here's what we need to do. I know it works. Are you coming with me? Are you going to do this or not? Because I'm in this, I'm with you, I want the best for you. It's like being a fucking parent, being a coach. You know the answer. You know what's right. How do you convince people? How do you convince your kids to do what you're asking? Because a lot of people need to find out the hard way, unfortunately. But
yeah, you can. I agree with that to a point, but I think you can only give that accountability away once you've found it yourself, and that's the difference. Yeah, you have to. No, I don't even think that. I don't even think when you hit rock bottom, you give the accountability away, because you have no accountability then. I think
you have to,
even if you are rock bottom. Yeah, well, I guess the only way is up, isn't it? But like, what is rock bottom in the context we were talking? Rock bottom isn't rock bottom. Rock bottom's dead. You know what I mean? But I think that giving the accountability away only works when you've taken responsibility, because in taking responsibility, you realize that you need help with those things, and you're maybe not well equipped to do the nutrition, do the training, do the everything else. So I guess that's the difference, isn't it? You're right. I want to get better. Now I need to outsource the accountability because I know that they're not my areas of expertise.
So yeah, 100% agree. But the other thing to that is people like you, people that, like I said, I've never been obese. I've never had an addiction. I haven't got a competitive element in my body, right? I'm just vanilla. I've got through life at 70%, right? I've got through it. I've ticked all the boxes. I've never had anything go on. I'm all right. I'm just average Joe, right? Which is why I love CrossFit, because I can tick all the boxes good enough and I don't specialize, right? Now, I've never had to do that. But the people that get fucking really far in life are the people that have been really fucking shit at like they've been really, really bad. They've either had a shitty upbringing, they've been drug addicts, they've been addicted to something, but they've come out the other side. They, like Mike Tyson's of the world. His mum's a prostitute, right? In the Bronx. He grows up in the 70s and he's in hell, and he came out of it. And he was the he was the baddest man on earth. Right? He came out of it the other end. Look at fucking Hunter McIntyre. Like, he put a picture of himself up yesterday. He was a fucking smack addict. Like, and then Kennedy Jr. Like, it takes someone that's been at rock bottom as a heroin addict to be the head of the FDA that's now promoting eat beets, vegetables, nuts and seeds, sun-free little nuts, no sugar. For me, I'm nowhere near disciplined as you. I've never had to go through a huge transformation into someone that requires all of that discipline, because I've sort of drifted on through and I've got there naturally. I haven't had to be forced into a superhuman that can do that kind of thing because I've got by without it.
Yeah, but that's the difference, and I think that's where these sort of rags to riches, you could say, stories, they lose a little bit of, I don't know, if you look at it really from a high level, it's a fascinating story. People are compelled by stories. So you tell that story of Mike Tyson, you tell the story of the obese person that now runs marathons, and it gives you a journey, and people relate to a journey. But actually, the ones that never had a lack of self-control enough to need to find a level of discipline that was outrageous, there are so many more people out there like that. Not every professional athlete at the highest level had a prostitute for a mum and a pimp for a dad, but we only hear about the ones that do because it's a story. So I think that we glorify those people, and rightly so to a point. If you dragged yourself out from the depths of hell, but in some cases, not you can't account for upbringing, but in some cases, people put themselves in hell. And then, should you get bonus points for dragging yourself out? Well, it were better than staying in hell, but you kind of were there for a reason. So like someone like you that, like you say, you've never been obese, so you've never developed that level of discipline to get out of it. Well, actually, that's way more commendable than me, because I had the lack of self-control in order to become obese in the first place. And then well done for losing the weight that you shouldn't have gained in the first place. I think someone that never gained it is arguably a little bit more...
But I never
balanced,
had to try,
shall we say. Yeah, but that's the point though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was no effort. It didn't require any effort for me to be me.
But why do you say then that you love a treat? Like when we were talking in the group the other day, you're like, I'm not doing the sugar thing because I like Easter eggs. Like you like those things, but you don't do them regularly. Like, so therefore that is a level of discipline, because, if you liked those things and you didn't have discipline, surely you'd eat them every day. So whether you don't recognize it as discipline because it's that well ingrained in you or not, if you like something and choose not to do it because it's not good for you, that's discipline, whether you admit it or not, really.
I don't know. Like I don't crave chocolate every day. Like I'm not like, I love tasty shit just like everyone else, but like I can take it or leave it. Like it doesn't like, I don't have to have a lock on my fridge at night. Like because I know that it's not a problem for me. Like I don't have to hide all the fucking drugs in my house because there aren't any, because I don't need them. Like I've never been addicted to opioids. I don't have to not have paracetamol because I might have a gateway into codeine and then codeine into fucking opiates. Like there are so many people that are battling every minute of every day towards something that they know makes them feel better. And this might be a topic for Facundo to talk about, but nothing makes me feel good.
For me, that's miserable, isn't it?
Yeah, nothing gives me that. And honestly, like other than family, like the only time...
That's the thing then, isn't it? That is something like, and that's a really healthy...
But that's genetic. I can't help that.
No, I don't think it is. No. Because there are plenty of people out there that have got a family that treat them like shit and have nothing to do with them. So I think, although it might not be a choice, I don't know, it's something that you do well and that gives you joy. Like the fact that... I
don't choose it though. When I look, as like earlier on, my 8-week-old daughter, she's 8 weeks tomorrow. She did a little giggle earlier for the first time, and man, it filled me up. Right, I didn't need anything more. Like if I died right then, I'd have been like, yeah, here we go. Like I've done it. But like then she shat herself. She did a big fart and pooed her nappy, so it went away. But like the thing is, I've never had an addiction to money either. Like I've never chased money. I am so fucking boring. Like nothing does anything for me. Like nothing. There's nothing I want. There's nothing I chase. I never get birthday or Christmas presents because no other fucker knows what to give me because I don't want anything. Like the only thing I want is to be around my family. So the only reason I do shit is so that I can spend more time with my family. I could have been really high up in a corporate job by now, really high up. But I walked away from that to open my affiliate because I wanted that way of life. And that was in 2014 that all started. Like that's what I wanted to do because I knew one day I'd want kids. And I know that I would hate to be at a 9 to 5 having to drop my kids off at school and not pick them up from school or have to be away on business trips or fly to Italy for a fucking brewery tour or whatever it was. So I've made these decisions along the way, but they weren't decisions. They weren't even a choice. It was like, there's no other option. It's just straight through. And this isn't me trying to be cool. It's not me trying to be like, oh, I'm well hard or like, look at me, I'm a responsible dad. It's like, for me, that's just the way it is.
But you still made choices that you wanted to make, which means you had a desire, whatever that may be. When you're talking about having a family before you had one, that was obviously something that you wanted. So therefore you liked the idea of that. And then when it came to fruition, you liked it. So you made those decisions because of a desire. So that is in its essence. It
wasn't, I know what you mean. I do get what you mean. But I didn't have to think twice. It was like,
when something's right, like who does really? People don't have conviction and they mess about. Like I'm very impulsive because I have a very quick decision-making process. When something feels right, I'm like, bang. And, that might even be on precognition basis for you by the sounds of it. But I feel like that is something that people have, isn't it? It's like, you're like, right, this feels right, I'm doing it. And when you have conviction and you do it for the right reasons, you don't care about the outcome because in your heart, it was the right thing to do. So the outcome's almost irrelevant when you really know what you want and you have conviction in it.
Yeah. No, I see what you're getting at. I see what you mean. I've just never seen it that way. It's just like being on a one-way street. Fuck it, we're going. But yeah, all good, all fun. So we've covered a lot tonight.
We have, and I need a wee, so we'll have to get onto my. We'll get onto the tales from Bumble next time.
Oh no! All right, okay. We'll save it for next time. There might be some more. There might be some more by next time.
Yeah, I'll keep swiping. See if we can get any more. But
please do.
I'll caveat it. That can be the title of the next show. That people don't want honesty; they want a level of honesty that they're comfortable with. Show me a girl in the world that doesn't want honesty or want honesty.
Okay.
And then when they met with it, oh, well, that weren't quite as honest. That was a bit more honesty than I was ready for. That's where I'm at. So we'll delve into that one next week.
I look forward to that.
Yeah. Right. Thank you, everyone. And anyone that's still listening, watching, make sure you subscribe to Continuum. And thank you, Heidi, Seema, and Mark, and anyone else we missed in the comments for participating and making the show extra special.
Hell yeah.
Bonjour, team.
Bonjour.
Bye.